everyone, and welcome to another episode of I Can Do That with the Prosper Community Library. I'm Sharon Alderton, and today we're going to be making our very own mason jar flower arrangements. I love the local flower shops, florists, everyone, but I kind of like to be my own sometimes. And it's also a really economical way to bring a lot of beauty to a baby shower or a birthday or even just a fun gift. So today I'm going to show you what I've got. We have a really pretty spring arrangement I've got planned today, and we've got some tulips, we've got some stock, we've got some astromeria right here, we've got some really pretty orange roses. And one way you can tell you've got really good roses is if you just kind of pinch the bud and it feels really thick and nice. That is a really good rose. If it feels really flimsy and squishy, pass on those. I've got some green hydrangea, and then I actually found these really cute little calla lilies for $2.50 today. When I went to my local Kroger this morning, this ended up being just about $35, and we're gonna probably make at least 4 arrangements out of this. We may even have enough left over to do just like a little hodgepodge arrangement as well, but kind of 4 of the same type arrangements. So yeah, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna start cleaning all these up, and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. So what I've got going on here now is I've got a little trash bag I'm going to be keeping all of my greenery in. I've got all of my flowers now out of the package and kind of sitting in a little bit of water here in my sink. And what I'm going to show you next is that what I like to do is I like to kind of take most of the greenery off. And the good news about this greenery is going to go in my compost bin that I made a couple weeks ago on a video that you guys can watch too. So I'm going to collect it in this bag and I'm going to go put it out in my compost. So my next step is to make sure I get all of my flowers, at least the leaves about this far from the top, because if you leave a lot of greenery and put it in the water, and let's say you have it there for a few days, sometimes it can get really messy in the water and create bacteria and stuff, and then your arrangement won't last as long. Another helpful tip would be to change that water out every probably few days if you want your arrangement to last longer. So I'm also going to do that here. That was my rose. As you can see, I took all that off. For the stock, I'm going to do the same. I'm just going to pick off all this extra greenery. For my astromeria, this is kind of what I like to use as a filler. A lot of people will buy actually other greenery, but I like to use things like flowers because I feel like flowers are prettier than greenery sometimes. So I will take my greenery off and leave just this bushy stuff on the top as kind of my filler. Also with tulips, something that's really important, tulips will continue to grow. So once you cut it down, you'll notice that that tulip can just keep growing for days and days and days and get really leggy. So you may have to trim that up in your arrangement too if you have it for a couple days. And what I'm going to do with the tulips is they kind of just peel back and you just take them off like this. And sometimes there'll be a little bit of dirt in there still from the ground, and you can wash that out as well if you don't want that into your jar. So the tulip's going to look like this. And then the calla lilies actually don't have any leaves, so that makes it easy. And then for the hydrangea, I just have a couple of these today. But again, I like to leave the top leaves on, and I just take those bottom leaves off. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do a little time-lapse video here and go ahead and clean up all these flowers, and then we'll start arranging. Here we go. Okay, now it's time for the fun part. I went ahead and put some floral food down here at the bottom of my mason jar, and I'm just going to fill it up with some water. Like that. And as you can see, I actually have 2 different sizes of mason jars, and it really doesn't matter. All that really matters is kind of that the holes are the same, or if you want a wider hole, you can do that too. So what we're going to start with today is kind of our bulkier flowers. So we're going to take our hydrangea first. And what you want to see, you can see that the hydrangea is much taller than the mason jar. So what we're going to do is we're going to snip it down here at the bottom. A lot of people like to snip it at an angle because it will take in more water that way. And we'll do that over here with our other hydrangea that's hiding back here. And again, this, like I said, this one's a little taller, so sometimes you can kind of just measure by placing the flower next to it, having a pretty good idea of where to snip it. There we go. And then the other thing I like to use for my bulkier flowers again is that Astromeria. And I'll give that a little snip and place it in my jar as well. I'll have one for this bigger one. As you can see, there we go. And now I'm gonna start adding my pops of color. And remember, you can always use the jar as a measuring point. I also like to do things where I add a little height, let's say with this stalk. So I'll just give it a little snip, and I might make that one a little bit taller just to give the arrangement a little height, sticking out of the top there. A little surprise color. Take a look. And like I said, remember about those tulips, is that sometimes those tulips will keep growing. So even if you cut one of them a little bit shorter than you probably would everything else, let's say if you want to bring this arrangement to someone the next day and it's not going to happen that same day, you can get a little bit shorter and it will continue to grow. All right, and then I'm going to put another calla lily in here. Oh, not calla lily. That's not a calla lily. This is a calla lily. And again, this one is another good height flower. Start putting that one in here. Also, just give it a little bit more. I'm gonna add another Astromeria over here. Needs to be just a smidgen shorter. All right. Oh, I missed one of these when I was cleaning up. Another tulip goes in there. And now now that I have a really good base foundation for bulky items, now I'm gonna start adding more of those roses. Just kind of evenly dispersing them around the mason jar. Adding that pop of color all around. Super easy. I know I say that. I mean, it takes a little practice figuring out the lengths and how big you want your arrangements to be, but you'll get a really beautiful arrangement that someone will really enjoy. And we'll just go ahead and do the same thing with this one. We started with the Astromeria. I might put another one in there just give it a little bulk. Like I said, some people enjoy a lot of greenery in their arrangements. I'd rather use flowers that have greenery, like this hydrangea and this Astromeria. See all this little leafy business here? It actually adds a lot of bulk to the arrangement, and it really is just beautiful. All right, and there's my little stalk heading out of the top. And I'm gonna start putting my tulips in, a couple of these pretties. And like I said, Mother's Day is coming up, Teacher Appreciation's coming up, and if you're on a budget and you don't want to spend the money on a big high dollar florist, not that they don't do a beautiful job, because they will, but even your local grocery stores really have some pretty beautiful flowers that you could make a really beautiful arrangement with. All right, so now I'm going to start adding those roses in, just turning my jar around, adding them in. So pretty. Take one of those calla lilies. So neat. I mean, look at the color in there. Oh my word, I love it. I'm gonna stick that one right over here. Just a little surprise in that little bunch. And again, you have just a gorgeous little arrangement that everyone is going to enjoy. If you want to spruce it up even a little bit more, you can put a little burlap bow around the neck of here, or you know, any kind of fun bows would work. With a little tag on it that just says how much you appreciate somebody. And like I said, these are great additions to birthday tables or appreciation for someone. Super easy and really inexpensive when it comes to people on a budget. So if you think you can do it too, I know you can do it. Thanks for joining us.